Feeling me?
Well, in terms of your being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, how do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that? I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1, but 2. The one physician said, you're mentally sound as a bell. He said, I don't have any idea what's going on with you. When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock of my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of the...
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2976, but if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women. The next speaker.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Buckner, and I have been a targeted individual for a very long time. The things I have experienced due to being targeted, they have been unreal. But however, I can personally attest that this is very real indeed. My life has been destroyed in every possible way, and every day has been a struggle for me. I am very grateful to be before you today due to Amy Anderson's due diligence and to everyone else involved. I thank you, council members, for giving us targeted individuals a chance to speak and to be heard. And I pray that these atrocities will soon be brought to an end. But we need your help. Thank you.
Alex?
Went to bed. I had and they had all of a sudden I had been there like 4 or 5 days, and then use their telephone so I could make airline, flight, because all I wanted to do was leave Chicago. And so I figured I'd make my plans in a hotel. I didn't think that they could hack the hotel. I was very naive back then. I didn't understand the full technology spectrum or even interest, and all I wanted to do was leave. So I was at a hotel on a relatively high floor, and they had all of a sudden I had been there like 4 or 5 days, and the night before I was attacked really bad, I noticed a maintenance man about 10 or 11 o'clock at night messing with all of the lights up and down the hallway. And as I'm sorry, I get kind of upset when I think about this because it's really messed up. And my spidey sense went off, and I was really kind of nervous about like what the hell he was doing out there, because he was kind of a sinister, he was real creepy kind of person. So the next night, I believe it was a Friday night, I went to bed. I had all of the doors, all the locks on the door, even the one that kind of like goes over that you can't open from the outside. I had everything locked up. Figured I was safe. I went to bed maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, bleeding out of every hole, sick. Someone was in my room, or had been in my room. Food was missing. My dogs were traumatized. I had been obviously sexually assaulted in all the worst ways possible. I got up, first thing I did was vomit. And all I wanted to do was I was just in shock. There was a do not disturb sign on my door, and I didn't do this. And there was lotion all over my bathroom floor. All I wanted to do was just get on a plane and get the hell away from everybody. And I was, very, very sick and in a lot of pain. I had already been denied a rape kit when I owned my house, and woke up, and my hair had obviously been pulled out and there were earplugs in my bed. And I felt like someone had done something. I went to Palos Community Hospital um, under the directions of a non-compromised police officer who told me that if anything happened, to go right to the hospital. So I did. And I had a compromised doctor who treated me like a third-rate citizen and said she would give me an STD test and a drug test. But she refused me a rape kit. And so I had already been kind of traumatized with hospitals anyway, and honestly just wanted to leave. So I stayed in my room until about checkout, and then when I was downstairs waiting for my cab to come to take me to the airport, because I just was going to get on a plane. I had $10,000 in my pocket and just wanted to leave. There was a young man who
in a way, I'm very sorry to address you like this because I think that what you're doing is very admirable. But I'm here to represent this other group, and I am also targeted, and this is my story. My name is Sandra Field. I'm an architect, recipient of Who's Who of Women in America Achievement Award, and have run a successful business for over 28 years. My life and livelihood have been compromised for the last 11 years by being attacked by electromagnetic radiation torture and by organized stalking. I cannot live in my rent-stabilized apartment in New York City as a result of this torture. I'm currently staying in motels and friends' houses in the last year. Thousands of Americans are currently suffering from chemical.
Mrs. Marshall?
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Marshall. I'm a former mayoral candidate from Louisville, Kentucky. I have never been involved in any criminal activity. I found a document in my bank account that said, problem with Kentucky government, check federal government paperwork and file before releasing information to anyone. I am an 8-year victim survivor of assaults by directed energy weapons. The torture I've experienced consists of body overheating, body extremely cold, seizures, heart pain, ear aches, itching behind eyes, burning behind eyes, swelling, headaches, involuntary movement of my limbs, exhaustion, speeding and heart racing, hair coming out by the handfuls as if I've had chemotherapy, mind paralysis, being hypnotized or placed in a trance-type state, being tracked by a drone or satellite, controlled dreams, sleep deprivation, V2K, which is voice to skull, projected sound, extreme muscle spasms, and extreme muscle cramps, being made to fall down, blue circles around the pupils of my eyes, and I'm here and you can look at them if you like, low frequency noises in my home, high frequency noises in my home, sexual stimulation, numerous electrical appliances in my home are destroyed, 4 computers, 2 fax machines, 7 telephones, 4 CD players,
highly perverted, involving many combinations of sensory and motor manipulation of my mind and body and of the people around me. This includes many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. They sometimes do pulses or throbbing sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. Over my legs and sometimes on my face and arms. The first incident of this was so extreme and highly traumatizing that it made me let out a most horrific piercing scream. This is completely sensory, so it leaves no marks, but it feels like you're being thrown into a fire while still alive. One day in 2015, also, I was awakened in the middle of the night with my left arm completely limp, as though there was no bone in it, or as though it had been paralyzed, and it had a horrific numb-like sensation in addition to a severe burning sensation. I awoke suddenly in the most extreme, piercing screams, not knowing what to do other than to just cradle the totally flaccid arm in my other hand while screaming hysterically.
The CIA?
Traumatized, which they turn off or on, as well as up or down not knowing what to do other than horrific not to just cradle the totally flaccid arm in my other hand while screaming hysterically, and then it quickly returned to normal but left me very traumatized. Something they have been doing for about the past 4 months or so has been the symptoms of a yeast infection, which they turn off or on, as well as up or down in severity. Right after nearly every shower, and sometimes during the shower, they do severe symptoms of a yeast infection, sometimes making me scratch my genitals so much that it leaves my genitals painfully raw, making it hard to walk or sit or go to the bathroom. I also experience what is referred to as malo. Anything electronic. They have even locked me out of my office building that uses an electronic key. It is often very difficult and an immense battle just to even sit on the toilet to go to the bathroom. Not only because of the bowel and bladder manipulation, but also because of the frequent severe sexual assaults on the genitals, my butt and anus, shaking, vibrating, and rocking my body back and forth, and forced eyeball movements, and phantom touch sensations doing rubbing sensations, etc.
Already being used. I mean,
if you talk to the victims, the TIs, one of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape and forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and especially violating for women. They complain about that torture breakdown the most.
But I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, she's going to get shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them, basically? You know, they call me retarded bitch and all of this here, but I was.
So yesterday I went to the beach and like drank a couple of beers and just sat down there after laying in bed and sobbing for 2 hours because the private parts of my body were being burned and my breasts are removed. And just the trauma from it. Just not being able to cope with the pain and the emotional trauma that comes from someone harming me using, I guess, remote medical technology is my best guess. I went and saw a dermatologist. Hey, I just woke up after a pretty rough night. The same thing happened last night as the night before, which was whenever I was trying to go to sleep, the private parts of my body began being burned again, and it felt like someone pushing out something inside of my body. So yeah, that's what I am up against today is but the abuse last night was pretty extreme. And weird. Mouth feels just like my teeth are like pressed forward, and I don't know. It's a lot of strange things. I've been doing some research, I guess what it's called, organized stalking. I'm called a targeted individual. But the abuse last night was pretty extreme. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. Don't really know what to do. I tried to go to a doctor to get some kind of pain medicine because what actually happens to me, what is happening to me is my actual physical body is being burned. And so it causes me to go into shock, and it's excruciatingly painful. And I have my limitations on the duration and length of pain that I can handle. So it was a couple of weeks ago, I asked him what he was doing there, and he said that I needed to stay in my room. And I asked why, and he said that essentially they wanted to keep an eye on me for a while. And I was like, okay, for how long? And he was like, well, we haven't decided that yet. And I was like, all right, well, I'm leaving. But it definitely felt like if I talk about what's happening to me, that I'm being retaliated against. And I know the logical mind is like, well, everyone can't be involved. But it seems that, I don't know, if the government has the right to watch and the proper paperwork, just walk right in and take over a hospital. And it seems that that is a very real reality in a lot of capacities of the things that I've faced. So today, just kind of just feeling some pretty general fear about my own safety, because the government's burning the private parts of my body. Sometimes it feels like a laser or like pins. All of that today, this morning. It's like not even noon yet here, and already I'm experiencing the pain and the harm to my body, to the private parts of my body. It's just hard to feel hopeful, like just wake up and get out of bed and not know like what a day will bring, and just trying to maintain some level of hope, and just in the midst of such heinous abuse, just this, it's terrifying, it's terrorizing. Today I'm actually dealing with something that's like, it's different than the burning the private parts of my body. It feels like somebody is trying to literally like cut the inside of my body, of my vagina, and I'm bleeding, and it's like bright red blood, and it's extremely painful. And I've talked to 2 people about it today. I've kind of talked to a couple of other people about it.
Okay, so I've been making a lot of videos listening to and showing videos of women who are targeting visual. I do that on purpose, and that's because as a target visual, they vilify us. They paint this program as something that it's not. I've accepted the reality of what this is about and understand what they try to do. The reality of what we are part of, unfortunately, is that this technology that can do these harmful things to us in these very sophisticated ways, as disgusting as it is, has a sinister purpose. It's a purpose, but very sinister in the sense that they are developing this technology that can harm a human being remotely. You know, as one called it, this is going to be, well, it is the 21st century new weapon systems. And to continuously develop them, they have to utilize human subjects. That's the best way to kind of describe what's happening to us. We're the guinea pigs for that. Now, how this thing is presented to us, how they try to disorient us, is something else, right? They try to confuse the target individual to make them believe other things, right? They try to make us think that they're this group of crime organization or this and that and this, but the truth is, we are just test subjects. Some of the target individual were put in this program so long ago. Others just got put in not too long ago. I know where who put me in this program or when it started, and unfortunately, it happened somewhere when I was a young adult. Just fresh out of college, I started working somewhere and work at the wrong place. These people didn't really like me and put me somewhere where they can get rid of me in every ways, right? And they put me in this program, this entity, well, this government. I gotta repeat this again. This corporation, and they're making it hard for me to speak. Was very connected, influencing, and have a lot of influences still today. And they put me here, but I can never look at it as like, why me? I can't. You just heard who else is in it. I can't be like, why this is happening to me when it's happening to women like this. I can't. And the truth is, unlike a lot of the testimony here, it all in when you have a gut feelings and you know that you shouldn't be working here, something is really off about these people. I'm not, and unfortunately, my ambition was too strong for me to just decline this opportunity to work and get a salary, even though I knew this is not a place for me. Look at these people. Look at it's just something's really off. I had the when you get the X, just big time. I felt something so off. I just didn't feel like this is the place I should be. And it's not even about the work. It's just the people. And I was right. Shortly later on, I was put in this program. But now let's fast forward to what's happening. Now, once you put in this program, regardless of your ethnicity, your race, your gender, it doesn't matter. You are now utilized as a guinea pig. and they do these things to you that you just heard. They destroy your life in so many ways, but they torture you at the same time. But the torture have a purpose of developing this technology. Now, they also have this tendency of creating this facade, right? They try to make it look like this is now a government that is utilizing you as a test subject. They try to paint this different storyline. For me, they're like, oh, we're just investigating, and you pay this all kind of bullshit stories. And they create this facades like, oh, look at us, we're a bunch of female gender individual, and we're just paying back for what you've done. And they bring up, oh, we were doing it for this person, for that person. Now, first of all, you find out soon later that one, gender in regard of who's doing that to you doesn't matter. There's women who's targeting individuals that you just heard saying there's a lot of females involved in this program. What kind of woman would do that? You're not even a woman, as you heard this woman say. So the perps can come in all shape, all form, all races, all parties, whatever. But they have a goal to try to present this facade. So for me, the facade is like this radical group of people who are avenging, mostly women at least initially. But to me, I'm looking at it as like, okay, you just try to paint that image, right? And because I'm somebody who is not I'm somebody who really push. I have this tendency, even though I know it's going to be worse for me, to do what needs to be done, because I cannot let somebody go into a fantasy land and create this facade of a false reality and let them flourish in that false reality. It's not going to happen. And for me, the perps have no shame. And when I mean no shame, I don't say no shame in regard of torturing you. They have no shame of how stupid they look when they do these things to you. They have no shame looking like you look like a clown, because I know what you're involved in. I know that you're even making up stories the way you want it, because this technology that I'm experiencing, just like these women, I have a lot of the physiological torture. So they're doing things to my organs. They're fusing my organs. That's what they tell me. I don't know if it's what they're doing exactly, because they could be saying that, but I do believe that. I do believe that they're doing these things to me. I believe the harm they're doing to me, because they're using that sometimes to deflect from reality. For example, I'm going to bring up the fact that these people do what you just heard to women, but they want to present themselves as some kind of avenger. They do these things to my body, right? My organs are just not functioning well. Something's really bad there. I'm scared to eat, because I know when I eat, something is just not processing right. So they must be destroying my digestive system, my intestines, or things of that nature. And they keep telling me how I'm rotting, so I'm assuming that something's just not processing well, and because of damaging, they've made me experience via this technology that can do this thing, sophisticated technology that can harm you remotely, right? I understand that. But they also do this. They also apply the V2K, this EEG aerodyning, this technology that not only just physiologically destroy you, but can attack your mind, meaning that they can literally alter your mind, make you think in certain ways via V2K. I know sometimes it sounds crazy, but this technology they've been working on this technology since the 60s to literally capture your brain signals, and once they have that, able to alter it. Everything here I'm saying can be validated one way or another. It's crazy to know that this technology, and this is that is very, very advanced in regard of how they can manipulate your thought process. Very. And the truth is because they've been working on since the 60s, even maybe before. But officially, DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, has been developing technology that can alter the mind since the 60s, and they had a project called Project Pandora, where they utilize electromagnetic frequency to see how they can alter your mind. This is officially, they have a whole it's you can look it up. Look up Project Pandora. You'll see what the upper was been working on. Obviously, they say, "Oh, he did this." They didn't find any result in the 60s. This thing continued. So you can only imagine what they were able to do in the 60s, and today the level of the fine manipulation they can have in regard to your mind. Now, with that, they're utilizing that with my thoughts. They can play with my thoughts wherever they want. They can implant information the way they want it. They can implant memories and in every ways they want. It's like reality can be redesigned in my mind the way they want it. And then I have these individuals who are contracted to make me accept this creative reality that they created utilizing this technology. So they make me think in certain ways, and you hear these perps coming and acting this way. And their job is to make you believe that is the reality of things. But it's falsified. They can create it however they want it. Now, going back to what they do to women. They tell me, first of all, how they're going to frame me. They say they're going to use their children and say that I rape one of, or rape, I don't know, whatever amount of their children. There's some children here. I hear them saying they're 13 years old. I hear them say 14. In the hallways, I hear them say that. And they stay in character. Because as I think for the performance value of things, they already training themselves to make themselves believe, to stay in character. And I hear this kid's like, "Oh, you raped me," and she's only 13 years old, and I have no idea what they're talking about. But I'm only assuming that this is how they're gonna frame me. that they're gonna say that I did something to a child here. That some children here. Some child here is going to say that I did something to her. Right? And I know the parents are creating their storylines, and they all, and this is obviously bigger than just some neighbors using their children. Obviously, the government is behind this, in the sense that this is part of how they're going to destroy my life. But they've destroyed women's life in so many fashion. On top of doing these things they do to me, to my body. Now, the way they try to make themselves believe that when they're doing it is radical. They dared. They involve in the program you just heard what they do to the women. A lot of sexual torture. Horrible sexual torture. Megan, I'm so thankful for your testimonials. And sometimes I don't know if something's happening to your videos. It's getting hard to find certain your videos. But the sexual torture that you described has been described by others. And I'm so thankful that you speaking about what's happening to you, because it helps us target visual. The perps around me paint this facade that is so disgusting, because I know that they're torturing women in the foulest way possible, and want to counter that reality and make it sound like they're doing it for Courtney, for Brittany. Now, I've made a lot of videos about Courtney and Brittany. Those are the women that try to present as if they could try to use them as they involved in this to make me pay for what happened to them. And then painting what happened to them the way they want it. First of all, before I get to the stories, the way they play around with it, can you imagine people involved in what you just heard? Presenting themselves like, "Oh, we're gonna pay. You pay for Courtney, for Brittany." Do you think they care about Courtney and Brittany when they're involved in what they do to women here? Just imagine you're involved in a program that does that to women. Do you think I believe that these people care about Courtney or Brittany? You heard the horrible atrocities of these women. So in the first place, I know that you don't care about these women. Because if you care about this, if you care about Courtney or Brittany, you will not be involved in a program that can torture women in this horrible fashion. So that's the first thing here. At that point, it just stops everything. For me, I'm like, don't forget about even the way you manipulate the story. You're involved in this. Do you think that I believe that you involved in something that can do these things to women today care about Courtney and Brittany? Or do I think that you're just using them to try to make yourself believe that you're some kind of daring feminist radical point. Do you understand how disgusting this thing is? Now, I know the reality of things. They want to enjoy what they're participating in. It is very, very incentivizing in different fashion. These perps are, I'm sure, of game financial incentives, but there's also the fact that they involve in a program that utilize technology that's sophisticated. We're talking about technology that can remotely alter a human brain and body. What Megan is describing her, and Megan is the woman who's talking about how she's her private part of being harmed. It's not done to her because somebody is presently doing that to her physically. They're using technology that can do all these horrible things to us. For example, I know they're cutting my internal organs or fusing them or doing horrible things. I'm not seeing anybody around me doing that to me. The damages that I'm experiencing and I've experienced so far is damages done to me remotely, and they're really bad. I think at this point, they're doing things to try to keep me alive, because perhaps they damaged me to the point where I should not be alive right now. So I understand the level of advancement we're talking about here. This technology would compromise a lot of people just to partake in it. Just what it offers in regard of this network. So I understand why would people be involved in it, but they're trying to find ways to find excuses for them to be involved in this, because they want to involve themselves in that, but they want to still present themselves and make themselves believe we're still good people. Now you're trash. You're human low life trash. Opportunists that got involved in something that so far, I'm so thankful to God that I'm not them in that sense. So for me, they're like, no, you know what? You pay for Courtney, for Brainy. Do you think that I think they care about them? Do you think they are clowns? That's why I say these people have no shame. I know the atrocities of what they've done to women, but somehow they want me to believe, oh, you know what? We're gonna just ignore these horrible testimonials of what these women go through every day of their life, but to pay for Courtney and Brittany, women that we don't care about because we're obviously involved in a program that is out here doing these foul things to women. Never. I will never allow this trash. Speak about Courtney or Brittany and think that I can let them go there. Because what if it was Brittany speaking instead of Megan? What if it's Courtney speaking instead of Katrina? Would they care? No. That's why I see these people for the low life that they are. Now, the way they're trying to create a version of whatever, with Courtney especially, because they tell me how they're gonna do these things, they're gonna burn me, they're gonna rape me, they're gonna cut they're gonna injure me sexually. I'm like, listen, I have to run to it, because you're not doing it for Courtney. And the reason why they're saying that is like, now you pay, because they've created a story where when I was with Courtney, I injured her, and I injured her in the rectum area. I don't want to go too graphically. Do you understand how trashy these low life are? First of all, if somebody's injured, right, in the fashion that they talk about, they'll be in pain. First of all, they'll feel pain. Second of all, you will not be talking with that person and then asking that person to go for breakfast. Now, this is things I just add to I just want to bring up. I don't need the rest. Needs to, you can. I don't need to go through it. But to go to that level, for like, no, you injured her, you did this and that. It's like, no, I did not injure her. But you guys injure women in this fashion. Now, I'm not saying that what happened between me and Courtney is not wrong. But I will never listen to people who, first of all, have to talk about this. Let me just go back. They also mentioned that at one point they would tell me that me and Courtney have a child together. They gave an age. They gave the child the age and the gender. It was a boy initially. I think today they can change it to girls. I say that they try to change it to something else. But they even create a child. My point is they have no shame of the creations they make. They have zero shame. But going back to Courtney, if there was wrong here, it will not be coming from people who do these horrible things to women, who are here torturing them in so many horrible ways. But somehow I should be like, oh, you know what? They're avenging Courtney. Nope. It's not going to work out that way. I'll see this trash for the lowlife and the opportunists that they are, and utilizing Courtney, and they're willing to create the storylines that they want. Because it's true, they can really make you think the way they want to. So in my brain now, they're like making me, no, you, and I'm sorry for the graphic language I'm going to use, but they say you injure her rectum. Which is funny. These people have no shame. Can you imagine your rectum is injured? You'll feel pain, right? You wouldn't be talking to somebody for hours, then come back and ask for that person to have breakfast with. So it's that falsified. So I'm like, you just guys are trash. But I'm not gonna let you live your fantasy. And in regard of like, oh, was that thing wrong when you did? It's like, listen, at this point, you are here making these stories. You made me be a father to a child that's non-existent with Courtney. You've made her injured, but somehow able to converse with me for hours. Then come back and ask me for breakfast. And you're involved in a program right now that does these horrible things to women. Do you think I care? Sorry. Do you think that I think that these people care about Courtney? It's disgusting. With all due respect, I cannot allow this trash living this fantasy. Talk about how they're gonna, and they tell me I'm gonna be sexually injured and what. I was like, I've run to it. I have God give me strength for the torture and the horrible things I won't go through. But this trash one trying to paint a picture, a facade that's so falsified and so far, be involved in a program that does these horrible things and atrocities to women, and also try to play the feminists and femme fatale avengers. For me, that's what's going on in my targeting. They are vilifying me whatever way they can, and they're utilizing whoever they can to say, no, we're doing it for her. It's like, really? You involved in this? What happened to this testimonials there? Why are you always every day trying to deflect from that? Why your job consists of countering that? I rather give my rectum injured. God give me strength. It's gonna be painful. If that's the torture, they think that's gonna make them believe that there's some radical avengers. Never. I have to run to it. God give me strength. Give me all the strength I need, because I'm putting that in their faces every day. I would be injured, bleeding, and everything else. You heard what they do to the woman over there, Megan, cutting her vagina to the point where she's this blood coming out using this technology. You hear about Katrina. Even refuse to give her a rape kit. Sexual torture is the thing they do. I rather run there and get injured. While this trash out here pretending now we're right now. They're opportunists that wanted to delude themselves and create a false reality while being involved in this targeting video. For me, it's just like these people have no shame. Don't you feel like a clown? Don't you? You think I'm gonna look at you as like, oh my gosh, this woman cares so much about Courtney, she involved herself in the program that's out here cutting vaginas of women. No. I will never let that happen, and I expect horrible things to happen to me, and I'm gonna ask God to give me strength, but I cannot run away from it. I have to run toward it, because I don't want these people to even in their mind to create a fantasy. It's like, oh my gosh, look at him, I gotta run to it. I am a fearful man. I'm not this brave man, and I'm not gonna present myself as a superhero. Never that. But in this moment, I need to find a way to bring that out. because this trash, they can't live that fantasy. I refuse to let them live that fantasy. They're opportunists involved in a program where they're developing these super sophisticated 21st century weapon systems, and want to do that, enjoy that, while living that facade and fantasy of what this of the story they've created themselves, and also the protectors of never. Target individual, stay strong, and Megan and all the women continue to speak. Your testimonials are helpful for all of us because it shows the reality of what this is about and the cruelness, the level of cruelness this program is about. Unfortunately, the stories are now unique. When Megan talks about and Megan is the woman who talks about her genitals being cut up, and she talks about the private part tortures, she's now unique. I've heard her stories in so many different fashions. I've made videos before I even knew about Megan, about the degrading sexual torture in 2020. You think I would talk about Megan? But no, I was just talking about target individual, and that's what we go through. So for me, I'm thankful that I was able to see things for what they are. As I'm going to go through whatever hell I'm going to go through, I pray God gave me the strength. Give me the strength, all the strength that I'll need till my last breath. And I hope you're with me till the end. But I'm thankful that I could have lived life like this perps. I'm telling you, the participants of these programs, we're not talking about the most impressive people. Anybody can do what they do. Anybody can do what they do. It's the easiest evil you can ever imagine. Meaning they can do the foulest evil things you can imagine in their pajamas. That's how sophisticated this 21st century weapon system is. And they can have no shame of playing this femme fatale. Never. To all my target individual, stay strong and know that you are living a dignified life. This trash will live a fantasy of a reality. And I'm glad I was able to see things for what they are before it gets too crazy for me to even see that. Thank you, God. And to all my target individuals, stay strong.